Proctored Mock Cat 4 2014 analysis. Let's go through the first section, QADI. A quick look at the section tells us that it is in line with the normal CAT paper with 3 sets of DI, and by and large question evenly split between algebra, geometry and arithmetic plus number system. So by and large in tune with what you can expect in the actual CAT paper. Let's go through the questions. Question 1, a pure look at this question tells me that it's a round 2 question. Why is it a round 2 question? It will take me time to read the question, understand the question and then go through it. So understanding the data, understanding the question will take time, and in round 1 anything which is going to take time I don't want to do it. But this is a question which I will definitely want to attempt in round 2. Why? Because it talks about a railway line passing through 4 cities, then there's some distances given. Okay, so distances have been given and fare calculation formula has been given. So this will require some amount of calculation, but this question can definitely be done. Not in round 1 by me, but in round 2. So a definite attempt, but in round 2. Let's see how to solve this question. Before that, let me clean up the slides so that we have space for working. So now let's read the question and see how to solve it in round 1 or in round 2, as the case may be. A railway line passes through 4 cities, Delhi, Mathura, Agra and Gwalior in the given order. The distance in kilometers between Delhi, Mathura, Agra, Gwalior is 125, 60 and 115 kilometers respectively. A train named Yatra Super Express runs between Delhi, Gwalior on the given railway line. The fare is calculated using the following function. So, formula for calculating the fare is given. Okay, in terms of x and y, x is distance divided by 5 and y is the number of stops between the 2 stations. So, if there are no stops, y becomes 0. Coming to the question, what is the minimum fare that the passenger has to pay if she travels from Delhi to Gwalior by Yatra Super Express, assuming the train stops only at Mathura and Agra during the course of its journey from Delhi to Gwalior, and the passenger can buy a ticket between any 2 stations? Now the first thing in this question is that the passenger can buy tickets between any 2 stations. So he could choose to go directly from Delhi to Gwalior, the distance of which is 200 kilometers. If you add Delhi, Mathura, Agra, Gwalior, it is 200 kilometers. He could buy 1 ticket. Alternately, he could say, I will buy Delhi, Mathura, 1 ticket, Mathura, Agra, another ticket, Agra, Gwalior, another ticket. So he could buy 3 tickets and the distance in. So he will buy 3 tickets for each of these legs of the journey and there will be a certain cost attached to it. The distance for Delhi, Mathura, Agra, Gwalior is given as 125, 60 and 115 kilometers respectively. Delhi, Gwalior should be 300 kilometers. Okay. So that's the second option which we have. The passenger could also say, I will buy Delhi, Agra, which is 185 kilometers, and another ticket from Agra to Gwalior, which will be 115 kilometers. The fourth option could be, again, instead of any of these, he could say, I will buy 1 ticket which goes from Delhi to Mathura, which is a distance of 125 kilometers, and take another ticket from Mathura to Gwalior, which is a distance of 60 and 115, 175 kilometers. So these are the 4 ways in which the passenger can buy a ticket, and we need to find out which of these will give her the lowest fare. Now there is a formula for the fare. Let's look at the fare formula also. A formula for the fare says fxy is equal to x square minus 10y plus 200 for x less than 30, x square minus 20y minus 200 for x between 30 and 50, and x square minus 40y minus 1500 for x greater than 50. Now my first thing in this question is that fare is by and large x square plus something or x square minus something. Okay? And as x increases, the fare will increase disproportionately. X square will increase from 100 to 1600. So the increase in fare will be high if x increases. Okay. So ideally x should be as low as possible. So when I have to check up or when I have to calculate the minimum fare, my starting point will be to see this particular model, which means Delhi Mathura, Mathura Agra, Agra Gwalior, distances of 120, 60 and 115. What is given to us is x has to be there. X is nothing but distance divided by 5. So the value for x, let me just quickly write down for each of these cases: 60, 25, 12, 23, and this will become 37, 23, 125 by 5 is 25, and 35. Okay. So let us check out the fare for the 3 individual tickets between Delhi Mathura one ticket, Mathura Agra another ticket, Agra Gwalior another ticket. Now for this case, x is equal to 25, 12 and 23 and y will be 0 because there are no intermediate stops. So let's just go to the formula and calculate this. So now let's calculate the fare for each of the 3 legs of the journey: Delhi Mathura, Mathura Agra and Agra Gwalior. Okay. Delhi Mathura, the distance is 25. Delhi Mathura, the distance is 125, so x is 25. So x and y, x is 25, x is 12, x is 23, y is 0 for each one of them. So the fare will be 25 into 25, 625 plus 200, 825. In the case of Mathura Agra, it is 12 square 144 plus 200 because y is 0, so this goes out completely. So 144 plus 200, 344. And the third case would be 23 square 529 plus 200, 729. When we add all of them, we will get 7, 3, 10, 18, 1898. So we'll get 1898. So if all 3 tickets are purchased, 1 ticket each for the 3 legs, Delhi Mathura, another for Mathura Agra, Agra Gwalior, the fare comes out to be 1898. Let us check out which, if we can eliminate any choice, this choice goes out. 1898 is here. Less than 1898, the choices we can't eliminate. Let's check out the next case then. And the next case could be either this one, Delhi Agra, Agra Gwalior, or Delhi Mathura, Mathura Gwalior. Now between these 2 cases, I am more inclined towards this because here I have 37, so 37 square will obviously be greater, and here I have 35. So 35 plus 25 is a preferred number for me for checking out because 35 to 37 square, the gain will be much more than 23 to 25 square. So 23 square minus 25 square will be lesser, or rather 25 square minus 23 square will be lesser as compared to 37 square minus 35 square. So I will check out first for Delhi Mathura and Mathura Gwalior, which mean distances of 125 and 175 kilometers. Let's check out the fare for this particular case, which means Delhi Mathura and Mathura Gwalior. So Delhi Mathura, just to put down the data for ourselves, Delhi Mathura and Mathura Gwalior. Delhi Mathura, the distance is 125 and this is 175, and as we had written in the earlier slide, x becomes 25 and x here becomes 35. So let's calculate the fare in these 2 cases. If x is 25 and what is y? Y, Delhi Mathura, we don't have a stoppage, so 0. Mathura Gwalior, y has to be 1. So let's check out. If x is 25 and y is 0, we will have to take this particular formula, which is 25 square plus, which is 625 plus 200, 825. So x 25, y equal to 0 gives us 825. The second case, 35 and 1. 35 means the second formula. 35 square is 1225. Okay. Minus 20 plus 200. So 35 square is 1225. Minus 20y is minus 20 plus 200. Okay. So this comes out to be 1025. So 1025 for the Mathura Gwalior leg. So the total fare becomes 1005. 1830. Okay. Yeah. Minus 20 plus 200. Yeah. 1830. Back to the choices. 1830 is here. So that means 1898 cannot be. First we had 1898. Now we are getting a value of 1830. So 1898 cannot be the answer. 1878 is higher than 1830. Hence incorrect. This is the correct answer. So just to repeat, this is a must-do question, but preferably in round 2. In round 1, you could end up taking a huge amount of time and you would put yourself under pressure. In round 1, look at doing only those 8-10 questions which take very small amount of time. Okay. Let's move to the next question. Question 2. When a number is successively divided by 6, 5 and 4, the remainders are 5, 4 and 3 respectively. When the same number is divided by 3, 5, 8 successively, what are the remainders respectively? Round 1 question. Simple question of number system. I have done such questions earlier, so I don't see any reason why I can't do it now. Also, I know it is not going to take too much time to solve. In this question, the first thing I did was to look at the choices. Okay, the remainders are the first remainder 2, 2, 2, 1, second 2, 4, 4, 4, third 7, 7, 1, 1. Now, the first thing is when a number is divided by 6, it gives you a remainder of 5. When the same number is divided by 3, the remainder should be not 5, it should be 5 by 3, because the quotient on division by 6 will be divisible by 3 also. So effectively, when a number is divided by 6 and you are getting a remainder 5, okay, so number divided by 6 gives you a remainder equal to 5. So if the same number is divided by 3, the remainder should be the remainder on account of 5 divided by 3, which is equal to 2. So the remainder would have been 2. So first thing I would do is eliminate choice D. However, I can't go beyond this as far as this question is concerned, so I have to solve it like in the regular method. But if there was only one choice which had the first number as 2, that would have become my answer. Let's go further and see how to solve this question. Now, some of you may not be aware what does this successive division means. It means you divide a number by 6 and the quotient is next divided by 5 and the quotient which is obtained now is divided by 4. Okay. So, successive division means you keep dividing the quotient with the new number, with the new divisor every time. Okay. So, as far as the question is concerned, it says the number is divided by 6, 5, 4 gives you a remainder of 5, 4 and 3. Okay. So let us try to get the number. Now let's work backward in this question. Number divided by 4 gives you a remainder 3. So if I assume that the quotient was q, then the number that was divided by 4 would have been 4q plus 3. I hope this is okay to everyone. When I am dividing a number by 4 and getting a remainder 3, it has to be of the form of 4 times the quotient plus 3. Okay. Now this was effectively the quotient when the number was divided by 5. So effectively this is the quotient when a number is divided by 5. So the number which was divided by 5 should be this 5 into the quotient plus 4. And which means the original number was, this was the quotient for the original number divided by 6. So 6 into this quotient plus 5. So n is equal to this. Okay. Now this implies when you open up this expression that n will be equal to 5 for the 20q, 20 into 6, 120q plus 5 3 is 15, 15 plus 4 19, 19 into 6 is 114 plus 5 119. So this is the number. So now let us look at when we divide this number by 3, 5 and 8, what do we get? So n now for us is 120q plus 119. When you do n by 3, you get a quotient which is equal to 40q plus 39. Let's call this as q1. The first quotient which we have got is 40q plus 39 and the remainder in this case is 39 into 317, so remainder equal to 2, which is what we had calculated earlier also. Next is 40q plus 39. 40q plus 39 should be divided by now 5. If you divide it by 5, the quotient, let me call it q2 now, will be 5 8s are 40, will be 8q plus 5 7s are 35 and the remainder equal to 4. So remainder equal to 4, that means choice A is incorrect because we need a 4 out here. So these two are fine, which means the third has to be 1 or 7. And the third successive division will be the second quotient, which is q2, which is 8q plus 7 has to be divided by 8. When you divide it by 8, you will get a remainder of 7 because 8q is a multiple of 8. 7 upon 8 gives you a remainder 7. Correct answer C. Okay. So remember, successive division means you divide a number, whatever quotient you get gets divided by the second number. Whatever quotient you get and you divide it, it gets divided by the third number. And the right way to solve this question is to work backwards. And which is what we did. We said if the number which is divided by 4 and gives a remainder, then that number should be of the form of 4q plus 3. And 4q plus 3 hence is the quotient when when another number was divided by 5. So that number was nothing but 5 into 4q plus 3, which was the quotient, plus the remainder 4, and so on and so forth. So you simplify it and do the successive division this time with the new set of numbers and get the answer. Okay. Let's move to the next question now. Question 3. S is equal to 1 into 2 factorial into 3 factorial up to n factorial, where n is the greatest prime number less than 100. If S is completely divisible by 7 to power 7k, where k is a natural number, then what is the maximum possible value of k? Round 2 question. Why round 2? Not because I can't solve it, but because it is going to be time consuming. This question is likely to take time because of some calculation involved, maybe because I'll need to check out the cases, hence it becomes a round 2 question. But like question 1, this is a definite attempt round 2 question. Let us see how to solve this question. First of all, n is the greatest prime number less than 100 factorial, so n has to be 97. So S is 1 factorial into 2 factorial up to 97 factorial. That's the first thing. Okay. And S is completely divisible by 7 to power 7k. So in other words, we need to find what is the highest power of 7. What is the highest power of 7 which will completely divide this expression. So we need to find the power of 7 in each one of these 1 factorial, 2 factorial, 3 factorial up to 97 factorial and check out what does it come out to be. Okay. So let's start checking out. Now 1 factorial does not have 7. In fact, from 1 factorial to 6 factorial, the power of 7 is going to be 0 in each one of them. So what we get is 0 powers from here. But when we come to 7 factorial has, let me look at this, 7 factorial, 8 factorial, 9 factorial, up to 13 factorial. Now each one of them will have 1 power of 7. And since these are getting multiplied, so effectively this will be equal to 7 to power 7. So from 7 factorial to 13 factorial, each one of them will have a 7 to power 1. And since there are 7 of them, I will get a power of 7 from here. So 1 factorial to 6 factorial, only 1 7 was there in each of them. So I'll repeat. So 1 factorial to 6 factorial, no 7, so power of 0. 7 factorial to 13 factorial, 7 appears once in each of these numbers, so 7 to power 1, or since these are 7 numbers, so 7. Next, let's look at 14. Now 14 factorial will have 7 also and 14 also, so the power of 7 will be square. So 14 factorial to, in fact you can check it out, up to 20 factorial, each one of them will have 7 square, or each one of them will be having a power of 2, and since these are 7 of them, so this will be 7 into 2. So this was, let me say the first one was 7 into 0, this was 7 into 1, and these are 7 into 2 powers. Similarly for 21 to 27, this will be, each one of them will have 7 cube, which means 7 into 3. So many powers will be there. Okay. Similarly for 28 to 34. Okay. Similarly for 28 to 34, 35 to 42. Yeah, factorial are there. And 35 to 41 and 42 to 48 factorial. So the number of 7s here would be 7 into 4, 7 into 5, 7 into 6. But the next number is 49 factorial. Now what is special about 49? It is 7 square. So if I am looking at how many 7s will be there in 49 factorial, 49 factorial, the highest power of 7 will be 49 by 7 is going to be 7 and 7 by 7 plus 1, because it is 7 square, so I'll get extra 1 power, so this will become 8. So 49 factorial to 7, the 49, 7 is the 56, so 55 factorial. Each one of them will not have 7 powers but 8 powers, the 8th coming in because of 49 factorial, which is 7 square. So this will become 7 into 8. Not so, effectively 7 into 7 is getting missed out because from 49 onwards we have a square available to us. Okay. Now this will continue. The last set is going to be from 91 factorial to 97 factorial. So let us check out 91 factorial. 91 factorial, the power will be 91 by 7, which is equal to 13, and then 13 by 7, which is equal to 1. Okay, so which is 14. So this will become 7 into 14. Or in other words, this is nothing but 7 into 1 plus 7 into 2 plus 7 into 3 up to 7 into 6, and then from 7 into 8 add up to 7 into 14. So this is 7 into plus 3 plus up to 14. But we don't have 7 into 7, so minus 7. Okay. Now this is nothing but sum of first 14 integers. Okay. Sum of first 14 natural numbers will be 14 into 15, n into n plus 1 by 2. So 7, and this is minus 7. Okay. So effectively this will be 7 into 105 minus 7, 98. So 7 into 98, or in other words 7 to power 7k has to be 7 to power 7 into 98, or k should be 98. Correct answer, choice B. Now some of you may have marked A as the answer. A is incorrect. A is 7k. This is 7k and this is k. The question that asks us the value of k, not 7k. Okay. Now you have seen doable, time consuming, hence a round 2 question. Let's move to the next question now. Questions 4 to 6, a set of DI, which is always a round 2 item for me. All grouped question and DI sets I will always do in round 2, because DI sets etc. take time to understand, and hence I don't want to do anything which I may not be able to understand after spending some time in round 1. Hence a round 2 item. Let's quickly go through the data and see how to solve this set of questions. The table given below shows the price in rupees of 3 different articles A1, A2, A3 in 6 different years. The price of each of the 3 articles is the average of its price in the 12 months of that year. So the price which is given is the average price for the year. So the average price of A1 in the year 2000 was 38.5 rupees. During the given period, there was no month in which the price of the article revised more than once or witnessed an increase or decrease of more than 10% compared to the article's price for that year. So which means the price of A1 in 2000, the average price was 38.5. The maximum price would be 38.5 into 1.1, which means increase by 10%, or the minimum price will be 90% of 38.5. I hope this is clear. That the maximum price of A1 in 2000 has to be 38.5 into 1.1, and the minimum price will be, or the price would have been in this range only, given that the average is 38.5 and this is the average for the year. Okay. So the range of maximum minimum can be determined, and some of the data is missing. So as far as the understanding of the data is concerned, I think this is sufficient. Let's move to the questions now. Question 4. In 2000, if the price of A2 was twice that of A3, in 2000 price of A2 was twice that of A3, what was the maximum possible price of A2 in any month of the given year? So price of A2 in 2000 was twice that of A3. A3 is 36.75. So this should be 36.75 into 2, which is 36 into 2, 72 plus 1.5, 73.5. So the average price of A2 will be 73.5, So which means the maximum price has to be less than or equal to 73.5 into 1.1, which is increasing by 10%. From a calculation perspective, 73.5 plus 10% of 73.5. 10% of 73.5 is 7.35. So this becomes 80.85. Okay. Maximum possible price is 80.85. Let's move to the next question now. Question 5. The price in rupees of A3 in any month during the given period could not be more than. Now, as far as A3 is concerned, we do not know the average price of 2003. Now, it would be tempting for many of us to say the maximum price is in 2004. So, 2004 is 48 into 1.1, which is 48 plus 4.8 or 52.8. And some of us may have marked this as an answer, but this is incorrect because we do not know what is the average price in 2003. If it is less than 48, then the answer will be 52.8. But if the average price of 2003 is more than 48, then it will be higher. So in the absence of this data, we cannot determine the answer, hence the correct answer has to be choice D. Let's move to the next question now. Question 6. If the price of A3 in 2003 was 25% more than the price in 2004. So 2004 price is 48 rupees and this is 25% more than 48. So 1/4 of 48 is 12. So this should be 60 rupees. Okay. So price of A3 in 2003 has to be 60 rupees. Okay. The price of A2 in 2001, A2 in 2001 is this. Was what percent more or less than the price of A3 in 2003. Okay. So price of A2 is what percentage more than that of A3 in 2003. This is 15. The gap is 15. So 75 minus 60, 15 upon 60, which is 1/4 or which is 25%. Correct answer, choice A. Question 7. This is a question of base system which I am reasonably comfortable with, but I will decide to do this question in round 1 or round 2 after I go through the question. If n base 10 is equal to 3213 base 4, 6543 base 8 plus 2345 base 7, what is the thousandths of n round 1? Simple calculation can be done, should not take too much time. Now since this is going to be a question in which I need to find the thousands digit, I will not bother too much about the units or tens digit. So let us look at each one of them. 3213 base 4. We have 6543 base 8 and we have 2345 base 7. Okay. Let's look at each one of them. Now for those of you who may not be very comfortable with base system, 3213 base 4, if I have to convert into base 10, it will be, this is 4 to power 0, 4 to power 1, 4 to power 2, 4 to power 3. So 3 into 4 cube plus 2 into 4 square plus 1 into 4 to power 1 plus 3 into 4 to power 0. So if this is the base is 4, if the base was 6, I would have done 6 cube, 6 square, 6 to power 1, 6 to power 0. Now which obviously means since I want only the thousands digit, let me check out for hundreds and thousands only. So units, tens, hundreds and thousands. Let me not waste my time with the unit digit of any one of them or even the tens digit. It is the hundreds and thousands digit which will help us. Okay. So let us check out here. Okay. So when you look at this number, 4 cube is 64 into 3, 192. Okay. So this will be 192 and this is 16 into 2, 32. So if I add these two and ignore the last two, 192 plus 32 makes it 224. So the 100 digit will be 2 out here. Okay. The 1000 digit 0 because the number is going to be a 3 digit number only. Let's check out for this one, 6543. So 6543 base 8. It will again be 6 into 8 cube plus 5 into 8 square plus 4 into 8 to power 1 plus 3 into 8 to power 0 or plus 3. So 8 cube is 512, 512 into 6. 512 into 6 will be 5 into 6 is 3000 plus 72, so 3072. And here 64 into 5. 64 into 5 will be 300. 60 into 5 is 300. 4 into 5 320. So if I just look at 3072 plus 320, this is going to be 3392. Okay, so let me just write 3 and 3 out here. Okay, the last one 2345. By the same logic, 2 into 7 cube plus 3 into 7 square plus 4 into 7 plus 5. And again, let's look at the last two first. 7 cube is 343 into 2, 686. 49 into 3 is 7 square is 49 into 3, 147. Okay. So 7 and 6, 13. 8, 4, 12 and 1, 13. 6, 7, 8. So it is 0, 8. So the 1000 rate is going to be 8 to 10 and 3, 13. 3 plus 1, 4. So the 1000 rate is going to be 4. Correct answer, choice B. Now this is what we say is a part of SQC, when you look at the question and identify what is required and just do that much of calculation. If you would have done this also, it would not be incorrect, but it would be a waste of time. This was not required, so let's not waste our time doing things which are not required. Question 8. By selling an article at a certain price, a shopkeeper makes a profit of X%. Should the selling price of the article be tripled, the profit made would be 7 times the actual profit. If the shopkeeper marks up the price of the article by 200%, the percentage discount that he needs to offer to make a profit of 2x%. Round 1 question. Simple question of percentage, profit loss discount to be solved, and because the price is not given, there is always a temptation in this kind of question to assume the price to be C, X, Y, Z, whatever. My suggestion is look at using a number. So again, part of our SQCs, we will not use variables, we will use numbers. Wherever you use numbers, your life becomes slightly easier. So let's look at solving this question. In a profit of X%, let me assume the cost price to be 100. So I am saying let me assume that the cost price of the item is 100. And since the profit is X%, X% of 100 is X rupees, that means the selling price should be equal to 100 plus X. Okay. Now the question says, should the selling price be tripled? So the new selling price should be tripled, which is 3 into 100 plus X, which is nothing but 300 plus 3X. So the new selling price, or let me say SP1, is equal to 300 plus 3x, which is thrice the original selling price. The shopkeeper, so should the selling price be triple, the profit made would be 7 times the actual profit. So what is the profit now? So earlier profit was X rupees, earlier profit was X% of 100, which is X rupees. The new profit is 300 plus 3x minus 100. So the new profit is 200 plus 3x. Now this profit is 7 times the original profit. So this is equal to 7 times the original profit, which is 7x, which implies 4x is equal to 200 or x is equal to 50. So x is 50. So now the question becomes, the profit is equal to 50%. And we said the cost price is equal to 100. Okay. Now the question says, if the shopkeeper marks up the price of the article by 200%. So the mark price will be, he marks it up by 200% or he marks it up by 200, which means 300. Because 200% of 100 is 200 rupees. The percentage discount he needs to offer to make the profit of 2x%. So if x is 50, 2x will be equal to 100. So 2x% profit will be equal to profit of 100 rupees. So the desired selling price is equal to 200. So what is the discount required to be given? Discount required is 100 discount required to be given is 100 rupees on the mark price of 300 rupees, which is 1 by 3 or 33.33%. Now you realize that you can do this question fairly fast if you are assuming cost price to be 100. Those of you did not do it this way, or those of you skip the question, suggestion would be put x cos square is equal to c and then start solving it, you will find it becomes tedious, tiresome, cumbersome, and hence it is always useful to substitute numbers for variables and solve it. And in this question the simple technique was, let cos price be 100. The beauty about cos price being 100 means x% of 100 is equal to x, so your calculation becomes even simpler. Let's move to the next question now. Question 9. If log of 7 plus log of 5 equal to log of a plus b plus log of a square plus b square minus ab, and similarly log of 57 minus log 3 equal to log of a minus b plus log of 13 plus ab, where a, b are natural numbers, what is the value of a square minus b square whole square? Great. Round 1 question, simple question of logs. Here I can see log of 7 plus log of 5 is nothing but log of 7 into 5. Okay. So let us look at the first statement first. Log of 7 plus log of 5 equal to this. So we can straight away say log of 7 into 5 is nothing but log of a plus b into a square plus b square minus ab. Or in other words, 7 into 5 is 35 is nothing but a plus b into a square plus b square minus ab. So let's multiply this. Let's multiply a plus b with a square plus b square minus ab. So a into a square is a cube, a into b square plus ab square. Then we'll have minus a square b plus a square b. This is b into a square will give us a square b. So these two get cancelled out. So plus b cube minus ab square. So this ab square. So this implies that a cube plus b cube is equal to 35. Now before I start solving this second equation to get another equation in terms of a and b and get the values of a and b, I said let me just check out what are these possible values. A cube plus b cube 35. That means one of them has to be 2, other has to be 3. Because 3 cube is 27 and 2 cube is equal to 8. So 27 plus 8. So when I am looking at a and b, they have to be 2 and 3. So whether it is a comma b equal to 2 and 3 or 3 and 2. So a could be 3, a could be 2. It does, but this is the combination which has to be there. Now when I look at what am I supposed to find out, I have to find out a square minus b square whole square. So frankly it does not matter whether a is 2 or b is 3. A equal to 2 or 3 can be interchanged because a square minus b square whole square will always be a positive number. So a square minus b square whole square is what we need to find out. So if a is equal to 2 and b equal to 3, we will get 4 minus 9 whole square, which is equal to 25. Now those of you who are still not convinced, of a was equal to 3 and b equal to 2, we would have still got 9 minus 4 whole square. Now because there is a whole square out here, the whether a square minus b square is positive or negative will not make a difference, and this will also be 25. So I'll straight away mark the answer as 25. I'll not even bother about the second equation. Those of you who are fond of it can solve the second equation also. I am sure you'll get this answers only. So again, this is what we say is again a part of our SQ. SQC means just look at what is required, eliminate choices, get the answer. Okay. Question 10. Consider the following graphs. Which of the following options best describe relations between f1x and f2x? Now this is either a round 1 question for you or a round 3 question for you. For most of you this is unlikely to be a round 2 question. Now if we look at the two graphs in this question, let's take a look at this particular point. Now this point in f1 is corresponding to this point in f2. Now how does this happen? First you take the reflection of this point on the y-axis, or consider it to be a mirror. That means this point will come somewhere here. So when it comes from here to here, what you have done is you have made x as minus x. So it becomes f of minus x. Okay. And from here, when you take a reflection along the x-axis, what are you doing? Y becomes minus y and it comes here. Okay. But y is nothing but f of x. So this becomes minus of f of minus x. Okay. So when you're looking at moving from the first to the fourth quadrant, effectively there are two reflections which are happening. First on the y-axis, reflection on the y-axis, then the reflection on the x-axis. So when you're looking at the first reflection, f1 of x becomes f1 of minus x, and then it becomes f1 of minus x. So among the choices, when you look at, we can say f of, so we can say that f1 of x, this will be equal to minus of f2 of minus x. Okay. So from here to here it becomes minus x, and from here to here it becomes a minus of minus x. So the correct answer is choice B. Question 11. Find the sum of series up to n terms. Round 1 question. Okay. And please don't go by the solution given in the answer key, or the solution given it along with the question, because that kind of solution can never be applied in the paper. That is a good solution to understand the concept. But how to solve this question? We will again apply our basic techniques of SQC to solve this question. Now let's solve this question. Let's say this is S. This is T1, T2, T3, T4 up to Tn. So I can say we need to find Sn. Okay. So what will be S1? S1 will be equal to T1. S2, this will be equal to T1 plus T2. Now whichever of these is the correct answer should be able to give me, if I put n equal to 1, it should be able to give me T1, which is nothing but 2 by 5. And T1 plus T2, S2 is nothing but 2 by 5 plus 49 by 100, which is 40 by 100 plus 49 by 100, which is 89 by 100. Okay. So if I put n equal to 1 in any of these expressions, so for n equal to 1, if I get 2 by 5, then that choice is likely to be correct. Similarly, for n equal to 2, the correct answer should give me 89 by 100. So let's put n equal to 1 and check out. So if we put n equal to 1, let's see what is the value we get in each of these. N equal to 1 means this is 1 by 10. 0.1 minus 1, this is a negative number. So choice A is incorrect, because for n equal to 1, it is giving us a negative number. Choice 2, for n equal to 1, this becomes, this is minus 1 by, this will be 1 by 10 minus 1, which is 1 by 9 into minus 1 by, into minus 9 by 10 plus 1 by 2. So if I put n equal to 1, this expression converts to this, which is nothing but minus 1 by 10 plus 1 by 2, which is 1 by 2 is nothing but 5 by 10. So which is equal to 4 by 10, which is equal to 2 by 5. So this choice can be correct. I am not saying this is definitely correct. I will call it definitely correct when the other choices also get eliminated. So while I eliminated choice A because it was not giving me 2 by 5, choice B is giving me 2 by 5, so it can be correct. What about choice C? 1 by 18 into minus 9 by 10 plus 1 by 2. So it becomes, so this is effectively minus 1 by 20 plus 1 by 2. This will not be equal to 2 by 5 because this gave me 2 by 5, so this cannot be the answer. Similarly, the fourth choice, it is 1 by 27 into minus 9 by 10 minus 1 by 2. So 9 ones are 9, 9 threes are. So this is equal to minus 1 by 30 minus 1 by 2, a negative number. Hence it is incorrect. So out of 4 choices, 3 choices don't give me an answer of 2 by 5. Hence the remaining choice becomes the correct answer. This is a very powerful technique which is used, and please remember all such stupid questions have to be done in this way. Now supposing there were 2 choices which were giving me 2 by 5, I would have checked for n equal to 2. For n equal to 2, what is the answer we need? 89 by 10. 89 by, sorry, 100. I'm sorry, my mistake out here. It should be 89 by 100. If you want to be sure, you can put n equal to 2 into this and check out. I am sure you will get 89 by 100 only. Question 12. if S is the sum of all distinct possible values of tens digit of 91 to power 1AB, where 1AB is a 3-digit natural number and AB are single digit whole numbers, find the value of S. Down to question. This question will involve binomial expansion. This question is likely to have some cases where you will need to do some calculations, hence time consuming, but should be done in round 2. Okay. Let us however solve this question. Now, as I said, this question was binomial expansion, and let us quickly write down the binomial expansion for the benefit of those of you who are not very comfortable with it. If we have x plus 1 raised to power n, this will be nc0 x to power n 1 to power 0 plus x to power nc 1 x to power n minus 1 1 to power 1, and this will continue. Let's look at the last 2 or 3 terms. This will be nc n minus 2 x to power 2 1 to power n minus 2 plus nc n minus 1 x to power 1 and 1 to power n minus 1 plus ncn x to power 0 1 to power n. Obviously 1 to power n, 1 to power n minus 2, etc. we can ignore it completely because all of them will be only 1. Or in other words, this will be nc0 x to power n plus nc1 x to power n minus 1 plus nc2 x to power n minus 2 and so on. The last 2 or 3 terms will then be nc n minus 2 x square plus nc n minus 1 x plus nc0. X to power 0 is nothing but 1. Okay. So this is the critical thing for us, and this is where we will get the answer from. Now in this particular question we need to find the tens digit of 91 to power 1AB. So let's look at this particular expression. This I can write it as 90 plus 1 raised to power 1AB. So this effectively can be written as 1AB C0 90 to power 1AB. 90 to power 1AB. Now similarly we can write the other terms also. So just to save time, let us look at again the last 2 or 3 terms. Now this term will become 1AB C. Now this will be 1AB minus 2. Okay. And this effectively becomes x square. 90 square this means, plus 1AB C 1AB minus 1 into 90 plus 1AB C 1AB AB. I'm sorry, I've written it incorrectly out here. It should be NCN. NCN. Okay. So this is what we'll have. Now if you notice, we want to find the tens digit. All these terms, the tens digit will be 0 because we have a 90 square out here and we have 1AB which is 100C something. Okay. So all these terms will have the tens digit as 0 and all of them are 90 square or higher powers of 90. Okay. So the tens digit will be 0 only. So in this question, we effectively need to focus on these 2 terms only. Now let's look at these 2 terms. Now what is 1AB C 1AB minus 1, or this effectively nothing but NC n minus 1, there is nothing but n. Okay. So and the 1C 1AB or NCN, this is equal to 1. So this term will be equal to 1 and this term will be equal to 1AB into 90. So the tens digit is a function of 1AB into 90 plus 1. So whatever is the tens digit of this number will be the tens digit of the expression. Now this effectively becomes 90 into 1AB plus 1 Now if you notice, if you need the tens rate, if you multiply, this is nothing but 1ab0 into 9 plus 1. So the tens rate you will obtain when you multiply b with 9. Now the possible values of b are from 0 to 9 because a and b both are single digit whole numbers. So what is the sum of these values is what we need to find. So if we have 9, if b is 0, then 9 into b will be 0. If b is 1, then 9 into b will be 9. If b is 2, 9 into 2, 18. Similarly, if b is equal to 9, 9 9 is 81, the tens rate will be 1. So the tens rate will be, each of these can be the tens rate of this expression, and since we need to find the sum of each of them, sum of all of them, sorry, this is nothing but sum of first 10 whole numbers or the first 9 natural numbers, which means it is equal to 45. So the sum of all of them will be 45. Correct answer, choice A. I hope you understand why this question is likely to be a round 2 question, and in many cases round 3 question also. Now if you remember this completely, and the moment you look at the question and you are sure it will not have too many calculations, then you will start straight away from this expression, and hence you will be able to get the answer faster. So this is a round 1 question only if you are starting from here, or rather you are actually starting only from here and saying, okay, when I look at this number 90 plus 1, I need to focus only on this part, then it's a round 1 question, otherwise it's a round 2 question, and maybe in some cases a round 2 question or round 3 question also. Okay. Let's move to the next question now. Question 13. ABC are sides of triangle such that I don't need to read further to say there is a round 2 question for me, because it is a geometry question, it has variables, will be time consuming for me, and I am very poor in formulas also, so I may or may not know the formula to be applied. So, but let's solve this question now. Okay. ABC are three sides of triangle such that 1 upon AB plus 1 upon BC plus 1 upon CA is equal to 1 by 75. If the ratio of circumradius to in-radius of the triangle is 25:6, what is the ratio of the semi-perimeter to the area of the triangle? Semi-perimeter is the perimeter divided by 2. Now this question can be done only if you know the formula. If you don't know the formula, then you can just forget about doing this question. Okay. Now the two critical formulas to be used out here. Circumradius is nothing but product of sides upon 4 times the area. So ABC upon 4A, where ABC are the sides, is the circumradius, and in radius is area upon semi-perimeter is equal to A upon semi-perimeter, and semi-perimeter, as I said, is nothing but perimeter by half of perimeter is equal to semi-perimeter. Okay. So let's just solve this question. We have 1 upon AB plus BC plus CA is equal to 1 by 75. So if we add these terms, 1 upon AB, BC, CA, the denominator will be 1 upon ABC, and this will become C plus A plus B is equal to 1 by 75, which further implies that this is nothing but A plus B plus C in the numerator is the perimeter, and since we need to find the ratio of semi-perimeter to the area, we need to find the ratio of semi-perimeter to the area of triangle. So let us put this in terms of semi-perimeter. A plus B plus C is nothing but 2S, twice the semi-perimeter, that means 2S upon ABC equal to 1 by 75, and which further implies ABC is equal to 150 into the semi-perimeter. Okay. We focused on S because the question wants us to find the semi-perimeter upon the area. Now let us look at this. The question says that the circumradius to in-radius, the ratio is 25:6. That means capital R, which is the circumradius, upon small r. Now this I have already told you is ABC upon 4A. So this becomes ABC upon 4A divided by A upon semi-perimeter, which is equal to ABC upon 4A square into S. S goes into the numerator of the semi-perimeter. Now ABC we have already written here is equal to 150S. This is 150S into S, so that makes it S square upon 4A square the ratio of circumradius to in radius is given to us as 25/6. So we substitute here. So this implies S square upon A square 25/6 into 4/150. Okay, so this is 4. So 25 into 6 and 2, 3 and 3. So we get S square by A square is equal to 1/9. So which implies semi-perimeter upon area will be equal to 1/3. Correct answer, choice C. Okay. As I said, a round 2 question or a round 1 question if you know the formulas of circle, or if you know all these formulas. Otherwise, it is a round 3 question and not a question that anyone should be attempting without knowing the formulas. That will be a complete waste of time. Question 14 to 16, a DI set is a round 2 item for me. The bar chart given below shows the percentage of total votes received by 4 political parties: BAP, RAAP, NAAP and SAAP. So let's call them BRNNS. In 3 parliamentary elections of a country named Swajidesh. Okay. So what it's saying is the party BAP got 23% votes in 2004, 25% in 2009 and 18% in 2014, and similarly for the other parties. Do we have any more data? Yes, we have. The following pie chart shows the region-wise breakup of total votes cast in the year 2009. The total votes cast in 2009 was 7,20,000. So for 2009, we know the total number of votes cast and we also know the breakup of voting region-wise. So I can say 35% of 7,20,000 were the votes which were cast in North. Okay. Similarly for the others. Okay. So when you look at these 2 pieces of data, you know the total number of votes cast in 2009. You also know the region-wise breakup of 2009, but you do not know the total number of votes or the region-wise breakup of votes for the other 2 years, which is 2004 and 2014. Which means for 2004 and 14, unless the question gives me some additional data, I may not be able to get the absolute number of votes or the number of votes received by each party. Okay. Let's quickly look at the questions. Question 14. If the ratio in which SAP received votes in 2004, 9, 14 was 9:2:6, what was the ratio of number of votes cast in 3 elections respectively? Should not be difficult, can be attempted. Question 15. Each party received at least 7.5% votes cast in each region. What was the absolute difference between the maximum possible number of votes received by RAP in North region and maximum votes received by NAP in West region? Will be calculation intensive because we need to find the maximum possible votes. So it is going to be calculation intensive, may not be a good idea to attempt this question. Question 16. Absolute difference between number of votes received by BAP in 4 and 9 was given, and that in 9 and 14 is also given. The number of votes received by NAP in 2004 was approximately what number of votes could be calculation intensive again. So when you look at the 2 questions out of 3 in this set, they look to be calculation intensive. So it might not be a very good idea to solve this set in the paper. So which is why I keep them in round 2, that in round 1, I will go through all the sets, understand the sets and then start solving the questions. Okay. So let's look at question number 14 first. The ratio in which SAP received votes in the elections held in 4, 9 and 14 was 9:2:6. 2009, I hope you remember the total number of votes was 7,20,000. I'll repeat this part. Okay. Let's solve this question, question number 14. If the ratio of votes, I'll repeat. If the ratio, I'll repeat again. Let's solve question 14 now. If the ratio in which SAP received votes in the election held in 2004, 9 and 14 was 9:2:6, what was the ratio of number of votes cast in the 3 elections respectively? Now as per the graph, in 2004, 2009 and 2014, the party SAAP, the number or the percentage of votes it received were 18%, 10% and 24%. This is the data given to us in the graph. And we also know that the total number of votes which were cast in 2009 was 7,20,000. Okay. The question says that the votes of SAP have a ratio of 9:2:6. We need to find these two so that we can do a comparison of the ratio of the total number of votes cast. Okay. Which is what the question says. What was the ratio of the number of votes cast in the three elections respectively? So we need to find X is to 7,20,000 is to Y. Okay. Now first of all, the votes of SAP, this is the ratio, are 10% of 7,20,000. So 10% of 7,20,000 is 72,000. Since the ratio is 9:2:6, that means the votes received by SAAP in 2014 would be thrice the votes received in 2009. So this ratio is 2:6. So this is 7, or with this ratio is 1:3, or 14 is 3 times. So 72 into 3, which is 2,16,000. And what about this? This ratio is 4.5 times. The number of votes received in 2004 is 4.5 times of 7,20,000. Or sorry, 72,000. So 72,000 into 4.5. Now, many of us will be tempted to do this, but nothing wrong with it. But you could do it as 72 into 4 is 280, 288. 2,72,000 into 4 is 288. And 72 into 0.5 is 36. So that makes it 288 plus 36, 294, 324. So 3,24,000. So votes received by SAP in 2004 has to be 3,24,000. Okay. But 3,24,000 is only 18% of the total votes. So the total votes in 2004 is to 2009 is to 2014. 2009 we know the total number of votes is 7,20,000. The total number of votes is 2004 should be 3,24,000 upon 0.18. Okay. And similarly, the third one should be 2,16,000 upon, these 2,16,000 is 24% of the total, so upon 0.24. Let me eliminate the zeros and make my calculation easier. So let me forget about these 3 zeros out here, these 3 zeros out here, these 3 zeros out here. Second, start removing the decimals. So if I remove the decimals here, this becomes into 100, and if I remove the decimals here, this becomes into 100. Okay. Now it's a question of your basic calculations. 324 has to be a multiple of 18 because there is a multiple of 9 and even number. Okay. Similarly, 24 into 10 is 240. So 24 into 9 is 216. So this becomes 9 into 100 or 900. So this number is 720. This number is 900. And what about this 324 upon 18? 324, it has to be a multiple of 18. So 18 ones are 18. 44, 18 into 8 is 44. So this is 1800. So the answer has to be 1800 is to 720 is to 900. Okay, let me just create some space and work there. Okay, 1800 is to 720 is to 900. First thing, obviously remove the zeros. Then 9 into 1090, 9 8s are 72, and 9 into 20. Okay, so it is 20 is to 8 is to 10, or it is half of this will be 10 is to 4 is to 5. Correct answer, choice C. Okay. Simple calculation, but you need to be a little careful. Can be solved, worth attempting this question. Let's move to the next question. Question 15. If each party received at least 7.5% of the total votes cast in each region, what was the absolute difference between the maximum possible number of votes received by NAP in North. So we need to find NAP in North and the maximum possible votes received by NAP in West. So we need to find the absolute difference between these two maximum possible votes. Please remember, we are talking about maximum possible votes. Okay. And the condition given is each party received at least 7.5% of the total votes cast in each region. Okay, to solve this question, let's go back to the table which we have. Yes, this one. Okay, we know in 2009, 7,20,000 votes have been cast. North is 35%. So let's look at it this way. What is the total number of votes cast in each region? Okay, 40% is in East. 40% of 7,20,000 is 2,88,000. 10% is in South. 10% of 7,20,000 is 72,000. 15% is 72,000 plus half of that, so 1,08,000. And North is 35%. 35% of 7,20,000 will be 72 into 3, 216 plus half of 36, 252. So 2,52,000. These were the total votes which were cast in each of the 4 regions. Now the question also says that each party got at least 7.5% of votes from each of the region. So you can calculate 7.5%. Let me just write down the number straight away because I have done the calculation separately. So to save time. So 7.5% of this is 18,900, which means each party got at least 18,900 votes in North. Similarly in East, each party got 7.5% of 2,88,000, which is nothing but 21,600. Third one, 8,100 is 7.5% of 1,08,000 and 5,400. So this is the minimum number of votes that any party has got in every region, okay, in each of the 4 regions. Now what does the question want us to find? First of all, we need to find maximum votes of RAAP in North. RAAP in North has a 55, or rather RAAP got 55% of votes in the entire election in 2009, and NAAP is the other party that we have to look at. It got 10% of the total votes. So in the year 2009, RAAP got 55% of the votes while NAAP got 10% of the total votes. Now I have just copied the data from the earlier table so that we don't have to keep going back and forth. Now let's look at this thing. Let's try to calculate the maximum possible votes of RAAP in North. Now the total votes received by RAAP are 55% of the total votes. So RAAP has received 55% of 7,20,000. These are the total votes which it has received. Okay. Now since I want to maximize the number of votes in North, I will want to minimize the number of votes in East, West and South for RAAP. So in East, West and South, the minimum votes it will receive will be 21,600, 8,100 and 5,400. Okay. So minus 21,600 plus 8,100 plus 5,400. Now which will be 55% of 7,20,000 is 50% plus 5%. So 3,60,000 plus 36,000, 3,96,000. This is 3,96,000 minus the sum of these three will become 21, 29, 34, 35,100. So this means 3,60,100. So we can say that maximum possible votes received by RAAP in North should be 3,60,100. But this is incomplete. This is one way of calculating the maximum possible votes of RAAP in North. But the other method will also be that the maximum votes in North is 2,52,000. So how can he get, or RAP get 3,60,100 in North? Okay. Now, so the other way would be the total number of votes in North, which is 2,52,000, and assume all the other three parties get exactly 7.5%, about 18,900. Okay. So if the other three parties get 18,900, 3 into 18,900. Now this will become equal to 19 3s are 57, so 56,700. So this will give you a figure of 1,95,300. So what is the maximum possible votes of RAAP in North? It has to be 1,95,300 and not 3,60,000. Okay. Similarly, you'll have to do it for NAP in West. I am leaving that to you to do it, but I am sure you would have seen that this is highly calculation intensive, and maybe in the paper, this, even if you take up this set to attempt, this is not a question which you should be attempting. The amount of time it takes is huge, the calculation level is high, hence it should not have been attempted. Okay. Let's move to the next question. Question 16. If the absolute difference between the number of votes received by BAAP in 2004 and 9 was 27,000 and that in 2009 and 14 was 36,000, the number of votes received by NAP in 2004 was approximately what percent of the number of votes received by RAAP in 2014? Now let's put the data first. The party BAAP in 2004, 2009 and 2014 received 23%, 25% and 18% of the votes respectively. Okay. The total number of votes in 2009 were 7,20,000. So the votes received by BAAP in 2009 would be 25% of 7,20,000, which means 1/4 of 7,20,000, that means half of all, or 1,80,000 is the votes it had received in 2009. Now as per the question, 27,000 is the difference in the votes received by BAP in 2004 and 9. That means it should be either 1,80,000 plus 27,000. Okay. It could be either 1,80,000 plus 27,000, which means 2,07,000, or it should be 1,80,000 minus 27,000, which makes it 1,53,000. Similarly, in 2014, the votes received were either 36,000 more or 36,000 less. So let's put that also. The two possible options here are 180 plus 36 is 2,16,000, or 180 minus 36 is 1,44,000. Okay. So how many votes were cast in 2004 and 2014? This is what we need to find out, because once we know this figure, then we can find out the number of votes received by RAAP and NAAP in 2004 and 2014. Now let's look at this 2014. 18% of X. 18% of X is 2,16,000. That means X should be 2,16,000 upon 0.18, or X should be 1,44,000 upon 0.18. Now, which again is nothing but, okay, if I look at this, this becomes 2,16,000 into 100 upon 18. So this becomes 18, 18 10s are 180, 18 12s are 216. So 12. Okay. So this is the total number of votes which have been cast in 2014. But this will also give us another number. Let's check this out. 1,44,000 1000 upon 18 into 100. Again 18 into 8 is 144, so this is 8000. Okay. Which again means, so I have two different ways of two different votes possible out here. So I don't know which of the two to go for. So the correct answer has to be cannot be determined. However, I still think that this was not a good question to attempt, because I'm sure understanding this question would take some time. And if you don't understand in the first or at best the second reading, it is always best to leave the question. Question 17. The dartboard shown below has four concentric circles with radii in the ratio of 1 is to root 3 is to root 6 is to 3. The board is divided into 10 equal sectors. If the probability of a missile thrown by Arolal Gupta hitting the board is 2 by 9, what is the probability of such a missile hitting the unshaded portion of the second outermost ring? Unshaded region of the second outermost ring. Round 1 question, simple question of mensuration and probability. Hence, it's a round 1 question for me. Now, first of all, these are four circles. The innermost circle, the second circle, the third and the fourth circle. And their radii are in the ratio of 1 is to root 3 is to root 6 is to 3. If this is the ratio of the radii, the ratio of area will be the square of this. So the ratio of area of the four circles is 1 is to 3 is to 6 is to 9. Which means if the area of this innermost circle is x, this should be, the next circle, the area should be equal to 3x. Okay. So let me just draw a rough diagram for our reference. If the area of the innermost circle is 1, then the area of the second circle will be equal to 3. Which means the area between the two circles, this one should have an area of 2. Okay. So if the area here is 1, the area of this portion is going to be 2. Okay. Similarly, the third circle has an area of 6, or is proportional to 6. So if this is 6 and this is 3, that means this common area is equal to 3. Okay. And if you want to find the last one will again be 3. Why? Because this is 9, this is 6. Or if you want to make it, or if you want to look at another way, the ratio of areas are x, 3x, 6x and 9x. The probability of the missile hitting the unshaded region of the second outermost ring. So this ring. Now when you look at this particular ring, out of the total area of the circle of 9x, the board has a complete area of 9x, assuming the innermost circle to have an area of x. And this circle, the second innermost circle, has an area of 3x. So the probability of the missile hitting the board is 2 by 9. Now in this 2 by 9, the area of this ring in which we want the projectile to hit is 3x out of 9x. So 3 by 9x or 3 by 9. Okay. So this is the probability of the projectile hitting this ring, the one desired. But we want to hit the unshaded portion. Now the unshaded and the shaded portion are equal. That means it should be into 1 by 2. So this goes out 3 is a 9, which is equal to 1 by 27. Correct answer, choice D. Okay. Let's move to the next question now. Question 18th. While leaving his home for his friend's house, Rahul observed that the clock in his home was showing the correct time, which was 4 p.m. The next day when he returned home, his mother informed him that the clock has been losing 4 minutes every hour uniformly since the time he left. If the time shown by the clock when Rahul returned was 8 p.m, at what time did he actually return? Round 1 question, because clocks by and large I am comfortable with, and I don't think this will take too much time to solve. Now the starting point here is, when he left it was 4 p.m. on day 1. He returned the next day, okay. The clock was showing 8 p.m. So let me put it this way. The time shown by the clock was 4 p.m. when he returned, and this was the correct time. And when he returned at 8 p.m. next day, or rather the clock was showing 8 p.m. next day is when he returned, but the clock had been losing 4 minutes per hour. So if the clock had been losing 4 minutes per hour, that means the actual time of his return will be greater than 8 pm, or means it cannot be less than 8 pm, or in other words, choice C is definitely incorrect. And since he's been gone for more than 24 hours, even choice D cannot be the correct answer. Because more than 24 hours he's gone, definitely the clock has lost something like 96 or 1.5 hours. So your answer has to be more than 9:30. So the correct answer is either A or B. Now rather than trying to calculate the answer, let us check out the choices. If the actual time is 10 pm, on day 2, he had left at 4 pm on day 1. So the time elapsed is 24 plus 6, 30 hours. And in 30 hours, at the rate of 4 minutes per hour, the clock would have lost 120 minutes, which is equal to 2 hours. So if the correct time is 10 pm, the clock should be showing 8 pm, which is the case out here. That means 10 pm satisfies. This is the correct answer. Another example of our standard SQC techniques where we use the choices to get the answer. So we did not calculate the answer, we checked out the choices. Why did we do that? Because it was very obvious that choice C and D are incorrect. Because the two of them are incorrect, my answer had to be either A or B. So I checked out one of the choice. Since choice A satisfied the condition, hence choice B cannot be the answer, and the correct answer is choice A. Question 19. What is the distance between the incenter and centroid of a triangle whose vertices are 0, 0, 0, 12 and minus 5, 0? Round 2 questions straight away. Again, the question is talking about the distance between incenter and centroid. If you don't know the formula of the calculating the centroid or the incenter, or the in radius rather, from where you get the incenter, this is a question which has to be left. Okay, so you should have clarity. For me, this is round 2 question. But if you don't know the formula, there is a round 3 question. If you are very comfortable in geometry and you have done this kind of questions earlier, which I am sure you would have, this is a round 1 question. Let's solve the question now. Okay. Distance between incenter and centroid of a triangle whose vertices are 0, 0, 0, 12 and minus 5, 0. Okay. So let's just look at the triangle first. This is one of the vertex. So there is 0, 0. The other is 0, 12. Okay, so let me take it as 0, 12. Okay. And the third one is minus 5, 0. So let's take this to be minus 5, 0. So this is the triangle. So obviously this is 5 because from 0 to minus 5, and this is 12, and this will be 13, a right angle triangle, because the two of the sides are nothing but the two axes. Now we need to find the distance between the incenter and the centroid of the triangle. So now if the vertices of the triangle are x1, y1, x2, y2 and x3, y3, then the centroid will be x1 plus x2, x3, or the x coordinate will be this, and the y coordinate will be y1 plus y2 plus y3 by 3. This is the centroid of the triangle. Out here we know the 3 vertices. The 3 vertices are 0, 0, minus 5. So the centroid becomes minus 5 by 3 is the x coordinate, and y coordinate 12 plus 0 plus 0, 12 by 3 is 4. So the centroid, the easier of the two, we have obtained. Now let's look at the incenter. To get the incenter, let us first find the in radius. Now in radius is nothing but area of the triangle upon the semi-perimeter. Now the area of triangle, the two perpendicular sides are 5 and 12. So this becomes area half into 12 into 5 upon semi-perimeter. Semi-perimeter is the half of the perimeter, so 12 plus 13, 25 plus 5, 30. The perimeter is 30, so semi-perimeter should be half of that, 30 by 2 equal to 15. So this is 15. Now this tells us 5 1s are 5, 5 3s are 15, 2 6 are, or this is 2. So if this is 2, that means if this is the centroid, this is the incenter, this should be 2 and this should also be 2. Okay. Or in other words, the incenter, this implies that the coordinates of the incenter will be x coordinate will be minus 2 and y coordinate will be 2. So we know the centroid, we know the incenter, we can find the distance between the two of them. So if their 2 points are x1, y1, x2, y2, the distance between them will be x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square under root. Okay. So this implies the distance between these two would be, let's take it minus 5 by 3 minus 2. So this becomes minus 2 plus 5 by 3 whole square plus this is 2 minus 4. So 2 minus 4 whole square under the root. Okay. Now which will be equal to, this is minus 6 by 3, so 5, so 1 by minus 1 by 3 whole square, so this is under root of 1 by 9 plus 4. So 36, 37 by, so this is under root of 37 by 9, which is nothing but under root 37 by 3. Correct answer is choice B. Let's move to the next question now. Question 20. What is the sum of the maximum and minimum integer values of x that satisfy the inequality? Gent of 3 minus x into gent of x minus 8 upon 3x square minus 2x minus 1 greater than 0, where gent x represents the greatest integer less than equal to x. Okay. We want to find the maximum or minimum value. I'm sorry, I'll repeat. So we need to find the maximum and minimum values of x that satisfy the inequality and then take the sum of those two. Okay. Now let's look at it this way. This expression gent of 3 minus x into x minus 8 upon 3x square minus 2x minus 1. Now if x is an integer, which is what the question says, for integer values of x, if x is an integer, then gent of 3 minus x will be 3 minus x only, and similarly gent of x minus 8 will be x minus 8. Okay. Because x is an integer, so we can just make sure we don't get bogged down by the expression. So effectively we can write this expression as 3 minus x into x minus 8 upon and 3x square minus 2x minus 1. If you factorize it, then you will get this as 3x plus 1 into x minus 1. You can just factorize this 3x square minus 2x minus 1. If you factorize this is what you will get. This is equal to 3x plus 1 into x minus 1. I am not doing it just to save time, but you can check it out for yourself. Okay. Now we want this should be greater than 0. Okay. Now let us draw the number line and put down all the points where this expression becomes equal to 0. This expression. Okay. Now if x is equal to minus 1 by 3, at x equal to minus 1 by 3, we will have an infinite value. So I am taking it to be minus 1 by 3, okay, as one benchmark, because at x equal to minus 1 by 3, this will be 0. Anything divided by 0 is infinity. Okay. Similarly, when I look at x equal to 1, if x is equal to 1, then again it will be, the expression will be infinity. If x is equal to 3, the numerator will become 0, and x equal to 8 also, numerator will become 0. But what happens in each of these regions? If x is less than minus 1 by 3, now this will imply negative, minus 1 by 3 minus 1 will again be negative, this will be positive, and this will be negative. So it will become negative into, positive, 3 minus x will be positive, x minus 8 will be negative upon negative into negative. So this implies this will be negative. So this is going to be negative in this region. What comes to this region? That means x is greater than minus 1 by 3 but less than 1. In which case what will happen is 3 minus x will be still be positive and x minus 8 will still be negative. But now 3x plus 1, this particular expression will become positive. The remaining will still be x minus 1 is still negative because x is less than 1. So this makes it positive. Okay. So this becomes positive. So this will be negative, this will be positive, this will be negative. You can verify, but just to save time, let's move on. Okay. Now we want to find the minimum and maximum integer values of x that satisfy this inequality. The inequality is this expression should be greater than 0. This expression is greater than 0 in this particular area and this particular area. Okay. So where is it getting satisfied? The maximum value of x which satisfies this is equal to x equal to 7, and the minimum value of x from this will be x equal to 0. So the sum of maximum and minimum value of x will be 0 plus 7, choice D. Okay. Let's move to the next question now. Question 21. Try round 2 or round 3 because I don't know any formulas, and most of the time I will calculate the answer and find the value rather than solve the equation. In any case, solving equation to me takes time, hence I am not very keen on solving an equation ever. Okay. So if I have to solve this question, I will have to use the choices and then check out. Okay. So which is why it is always going to be a round 2. If I can't solve it in round 2, which means I can't substitute values and get the answer, then I will make it a round 3 and just ignore the question. Okay. In the paper, I did not attempt this question because I cannot substitute values. I will tell you why. Okay. Now effectively we need to find the value of tan of a by 2 plus b. Okay. Or in a way, let me say we need to find tan theta. If tan theta is, or rather these choices A, B, C, D are nothing but values of tan theta. Okay. So when is the value of tan theta equal to half? I don't know. 1 by 3 I don't know. This I know is equal to 45 degrees. Tan 45 is 1 and tan of 60 degrees is under root 3. This implies 60 degrees. Okay. Now, but 45 a by 2 plus b or a by 2 plus b out here, we can have multiple cases, and it is possible that neither of them will satisfy. In which case, the answer will be either choice A or choice B. Since I cannot do it since I don't know the formulas and I cannot be sure of the answer based on the values which I substitute for A and B. Hence, this was a round 3 question for me, not attempted by me. If you have to solve, what should you do? Apply the formulas. So my suggestion is go through the solution given to you. Questions 22 to 24. Another set of DI, which obviously means it's a round 2 item for me. But let's see how to solve this set of data and how to solve the questions. The following pie charts give distribution of the traded volume in lots and the turnover of 6 base metal traded on the commodity market exchange CMX on a particular day. Turnover is defined as the product of the average traded price and number of traded lots. Okay. So turnover is price into number of lots traded. So what we have is the volume percentage breakup and the turnover percentage breakup. So if the total turnover is 100, then aluminium contributed 22.22, copper contributed 1/6 or 16.67, and so on and so forth. So this gives us the percentages or the ratios. We cannot find the actual values till we know the value of the volume or the number of turnover. Okay. Let's look at the questions. Question 22. If the average traded price per lot for aluminium, copper, zinc, lead, tin was A, C, Z, L, LT, which of the following is true? Okay. Let's go back to the data. Let me assume that the turnover is 100x and the volume is 100y. 100y lots have been sold of all these items together, and similarly the total turnover is 100x. So if I have to find the average price, let's say for aluminium, the turnover for aluminium will be 22.22% of 100x, and the volume is 25% of 100y. So this will effectively become equal to 22.22 upon 25 x upon y. Similarly, if I have to look at copper, for copper it will be the same thing, will be 16.67 upon 11.11 into x by y. So x by y will be constant, which you will get in all of them. So to make your task easier, you could have just ignored it. we can say aluminium has an average of 22.22 upon 25. Copper has an average price of 16.67 upon 11.11. Similarly, zinc has an average price of turnover is 14.81%, so we'll take 14.81 upon 19.44 and so on and so forth. Okay. So when the questions talk about the average, just take the ratio of the percentage composition, which means 22.22% is aluminium in terms of turnover, aluminium is 25% in terms of volume. So the average turnover, if I have to compare, would be, or the average price of aluminium from a comparison perspective will be 22.22 upon 25. For copper it will be 16.67 upon 11.11, or in other words, I am hence assuming that the turnover and volume both are 100, which means turnover is 100 rupees and volume is 100 lots. Okay. And hence I can do the question very fast. Please understand, I can only compare. This is not the actual values, these are the ratios. So the ratios will hold, but I cannot get the actual values. So now let's go back to the question and see what we are supposed to find. We need to find the average traded price for all the items given there: aluminium, copper, zinc, nickel, lead and tin. So based on the two pie charts, let us write down the average price, traded price for each of these items. Written down the ratios for all the 6 metals which have been mentioned out here. Now the first thing which strikes me is that lead is equal to 13. Lead has a 13.89% share in turnover as well as volume. So this ratio is 1. Okay. And when I check the choices, the position of lead is the same in all of them. So lead is number 3. Okay. So and all the others are greater than or lesser than 1. Now let's start checking out with the choices. Let's check out the biggest and the smallest. The biggest is either copper or nickel as per the choices. Let's check out copper. Copper is approximately 1.5 times. 16.67 upon 11.11 will be approximately 1.5. And nickel, this will be less than 1.5. That means copper has to be greater than nickel. So first of all, my thing which comes out is copper is greater than nickel. Those of you who find it a little difficult to calculate this, you can also write 16.67 as 100 by 6. And 11.11 as 100 by 9. So this is equal to 9 by 6. This is exactly 1.5 actually. Similarly for nickel, you can say it is, you can round it off, you can say it is about 19 upon 14, or you can say 1.5 of 13 would have made it 19.5. Since the numerator is less than 19.5, so it should be less than 1.5. Okay. So first thing is copper is greater than nickel. Choice B is incorrect because it says nickel greater than copper. Let's check the others. You have tin, zinc and tin. So let's check zinc and tin, which is the smaller one between zinc and tin. Now zinc is 14.81 upon 19.44. This is approximately 15 upon 20, which is equal to 0.75. What about tin? Tin again I will say 16.67 is nothing but 100 by 6. So I can write it as 13.89 upon 100 into 6. Now 13.89 into 6 will be difficult to calculate. So let us approximate it and say this is about 14 into 6. So this is approximately 0.14 into 6. So I am approximating 13.89 as to 14, and 14 upon 100 is 0.14. So 14 into 3 is 42, into 2 84. So this is approximately 0.84. So which means tin should be greater than zinc, or rather tin is greater than zinc, or zinc should be the smallest. Among the choices, that means A is incorrect, D is incorrect, correct answer is choice C. Again we have used the choices, and this again is a part of our standard SQC techniques. Let's move to the next question now. Question 23. If the traded volume of aluminium was 30,000 lots and the average traded price per lot of aluminium was 1.05 lakh, find the approximate turnover of zinc. So aluminium turnover we can calculate. Aluminium turnover will be 30,000 lots into a price of 1.05. But we need to find the approximate turnover of zinc. So let us check out the turnover percentages of aluminium and zinc. Let's go back to the pie charts. So turnover of aluminium is 22.22% of total and zinc is 14.81%. So let's just put that data there, 14.81 and 22.22. So this is equal to 22.22% of the total turnover. Let me assume that total turnover to be T. Okay. But we need to find it for zinc. Zinc is nothing but 14.81% of the turnover. Okay. So if 22.22% is this much, what is 14.81 is that is what we need to find. Now the only thing we need to be careful is the choices are somewhat close. You have a 19,500, 20,000, 21,000, 21,500. So two choices are close and these two choices are close. So ideally I would avoid approximation to the extent possible out here. Okay. So now let's do the calculation to get the answer. So the turnover of zinc will be equal to 30,000 into 1.05. Now since this is 22.22% and we want 14.81% into 14.81 upon 22.22. This will be the turnover of zinc. Again, all I am saying is, if this is 22.22%, then 14.81% should be divided by 22.22 into 14.81. So our problem is now to calculate what is 14.81 into upon 22.22. This is the issue, because I am sure this will not be a problem. This calculation is not going to be an issue. Now what was visible to me out here on 14.81 upon 22.22, I said this is approximately equal to 148 upon 222. Okay, and the next thing was this turned out to be equal to 2 by 3. This is 74 into 2, 74 into 2 and 74 into 3. So it's just, we are just lucky. So effectively we can say this is nothing but 2 by 3. Okay, so effectively the answer becomes 30,000 into 1.05 into 2 by 3. So 3 gone out here. This is 10,000 and 2 into 1.05 is 2.1 into 10,000. So the answer should be 21,000. Correct answer, choice C. Let's move to the last question of this set. If the total turnover in rupees lakhs of nickel was 3704 and the total volume of all the 6 metals put together was 50,000, find the average traded price per lot of lead. Now in this we need to find the average traded price per lot of lead. That means we need turnover of lead divided by number of lots or volume of lead. So let's first get the turnover of lead. Now the turnover of nickel is 3704 and nickel constitutes 18.52%. 18.52% of the total turnover is on account of nickel. So the total turnover would be, total turnover is equal to 3704 upon 18.52 into 100, because 3704 is nothing but 18.52% of turnover. Okay. So the total turnover is this much, but we don't want the total turnover, we want the turnover on account of lead. So turnover of lead will be total turnover 13.89% of that. So it will become 13.89 by 100 into 3704 upon 18.52 into 100, and these two will get cancelled out. Now normally I would not write into 100 divided by 100, I would straight away say 18.52% is 3704, so upon 18.52 I need to find 13.89, so into 13.89. Okay. So the turnover on account of lead is this much. Now the total volume of all the 6 metals together is 50,000 and the volume on account of lead, okay, So volume of lead or number of lots of lead will be 13.89% of 50,000. Now which will be equal to 13.89, this percentage of this part. So volume of lead is 13.89% of 50,000, so which becomes 13.89 upon 100 into 50,000, which will be into 500. Okay. So because there is a divide by 100. So as a traded price of lead will be turnover of lead, which is 13.89 upon 18.52 into 3704 into 10 to power 5. This is the, because the turnover is in terms of rupees lakhs. So into 10 to power 5 to account for that. This is the turnover divided by the number of lots. Number of lots is 13.89 into 500 to get the average traded price per lot. So this effectively becomes 13.89 into 3704 into 10 to power 5 divided by 13.89. This 18.52 will also come in the denominator into 500. So these two get cancelled out. Let me remove this and remove these two zeros. So there is 1852 3704. 1852 into 2 is 3704. So it comes out here. So it becomes 2 into 10 to the power 5 is nothing but 2 lakhs divided by 5, which is equal to 40,000. Correct answer, choice B. Now a standard rule of calculation is you don't calculate the components, you identify the numbers and put them. For example, we did not calculate the turnover of lead, we just put the numbers and retained it as it is. We did not calculate the turnover on account of lead, we just kept it like this. The reason is, once you have to divide, as we have to do out here, if you keep the numbers as it is, you will get an opportunity to cancel out. For example, here we were able to cancel out 13.89 only because we had not done the calculations. So the standard rule is, don't calculate the numerator or the denominator, put the numbers and cancel out. Most of the time you will end up saving a huge amount of time. Question 25. Two congruent circles are drawn by taking the midpoints of a pair of opposite sides of a regular hexagon as their centers. If the radius of each circle is equal to the side of the hexagon, find the ratio of the area shared by the two circles to the area of hexagon. Round 2 question straight away. And after reading, in round 2, after reading the question, and if I estimate that the amount of time required is high or the calculation is high, then I may even shift it to round 3 and not attempt the question. In this case, I attempted the question round 2, but using our standard SQC techniques. Okay, let's see how I solve this question. If you have to solve this question using the standard mathematical methods, this question is not worth attempting, because the amount of time it will take is significantly high, and that amount of time you can probably do 2 other questions. So question to be solved only if you can do it using SQC techniques, else there is a good question to leave. And those of you who are fond of the mathematical method, you can definitely go through the solution which is given separately. I will focus only on the way I solve the question. Okay, let's look at the question. Two congruent circles are drawn by taking midpoints of pair of opposite sides of regular hexagon. So let's draw a hexagon. Pardon my drawing. I am drawing the best I can, but I am sure many of you will be able to do much better. So this is a regular hexagon. Let's assume it to be a regular hexagon, and the opposite sides, the midpoints of the pair of opposite sides, let us call them the two centers, C1 and C2. Okay. Now what you are doing out here as per the question is, radius of each circle is equal to side of the hexagon. So this is the side of a hexagon. The radius of each circle should be this much, or in other words, starting from here to here. Let me draw. Okay. Approximately this will be one circle, and this will be the other circle. Okay. So what we need to do is ratio of the shaded area to the area of the hexagon. Okay. Now, whenever you have such questions, I am sure you realize it has got huge amount of calculation. What you are supposed to do? Find out the difference between find out the distance between C1 and C2. So effectively these are two circles. Let me put it this way. What you are supposed to do is find out the distance between C1 and C2. Okay. Because look at this. This is nothing but the sector of the circle. Okay. And sector whose angle is 60 degree. Okay. So you need to find this particular distance. So sector of the circle minus area of this triangle will be the half the area of the shaded region. So sector of the circle, sector minus area of triangle, this is equal to half the shaded region, so into 2. This is what you are supposed to find. And the other thing is the area of the hexagon. Okay, area of hexagon. This is what you are supposed to find. But area of hexagon is not going to be difficult because a hexagon is nothing but 6 equilateral triangles. And if I say the side of each equilateral, if the side of the hexagon is 1, then these are 6 equilateral triangles of side 1. Which means area of equilateral triangle is root 3 by 4 into side square into 6. So this is the area of hexagon. This is not difficult. This is the item which will take time. Now when you look at this figure, I am sure it is clear or obvious to all of you that the shaded region is significantly less than, or let me say this is significantly lower than area of the hexagon, or this number should be significantly lower than this one. Let's check out the choices. Now the choices have under root 3 and pi. Let me take under root 3 to be 1.7 and pi to be 3.3. Let me not take 3.14, and let's check out approximate values for each of the 4 choices. The first choice is root 3 pi. 3 into root 3 will be 3 into 1.7, 5.1, minus 1, 4.1. So choice A effectively is 4.1:3, which means as per choice A, the shaded region is more than the area of hexagon. Incorrect. What about choice B? 3 into 2, 6, or if you are very fond of 3.14, we can take 3.14 also. 3.14 into 2, 6.28. So this is 6.28 minus 3 into 1.7, 5.1. So this becomes 1.2, 1.3 approximately. Approximately 1.3 is to 9 root 3. This is 9 into 1.7. 17 into 10 is 170 minus of 153. So is to 15.3. Or I can say this is the first number is significantly lower than the second number. So this cannot be eliminated. What about choice C? Choice C's pi is 3 minus 6. So this is minus 3. Not possible. My ratio cannot be a negative number. Choice D, 3 into 2 into 3.14, 6.28 minus 3. So this is 3.28 is to 9 root 3, 15.3. So effectively we are left with 2 choices. Choice B is 1.3 is to 15.3, which implies 13 into 10 is 130. 13 into 12. So this is approximately 13 into 12 is 156. So I can say that approximately 1 is to 12. And what is choice D? Choice D, 3.28 is to 1 to 15. So 3.3 into 5 will be 16.5. This is approximately 1 is to 4.5. Choice D. Now between the two, my feeling is it cannot be 1 is to 4.5. Look at the figure. I know it's not a very properly made figure, but I don't think it is going to be 1 is to 4.5. So in the examination I have marked the answer as B. Okay. Now this is the way you should be doing this question in the paper. If you have to follow the conventional mathematical approach, this is not a question which is worth attempting and it should be left in the paper. Okay. Let's move to the next question. But those of you who want to understand the mathematical solution, please go through the solution which is given separately. Okay. The next question. Question 26. Another question, geometry, round 2 question for me. Okay. Let's read the question and see how I solved it in round 2. In the figure given below, ABC is an equilateral triangle. Great. So ABC is an equilateral triangle, makes my task easier. And D is the midpoint of BC. D is the midpoint of BC. That means BD is equal to DC. Very good. If DP and DQ are perpendicular to AC and AB respectively. Okay. So DP and DQ are perpendicular. Find the ratio of area of PDA into area of QDA. area of PDA multiplied with area of QDA and to the area of PDC multiplied with the area of QDB. Great. Okay. So effectively this is about finding the area of this triangle PDA and this triangle, because there is an equilateral triangle, AD is perpendicular and D is the midpoint, and DP and DQ are perpendiculars. So which clearly tells me that area of this triangle PDA and DAQ, QDA, both of them have to be equal. Similarly, PDC and QDB have equal area. Now first of all, let us look at the figure and try to correct the figure. First thing is, use your pencil or rough sheet to measure AB and check out BC also. You will find AB and BC are almost equal, or in other words, this is the figure is that of an equilateral triangle. Okay. Now since AB and BC are almost equal, BC is slightly more, but it's fine. Okay. Let us try to correct the figure. Now the line DP is definitely not perpendicular to AC. To make it perpendicular, it should be something like this, somewhere here. Yes. Okay. Now let us look at triangle APDA and let us look at triangle P, hence should not be here, P should be here, and triangle PDC. Now what can you say about the ratio of area of triangle PDA to PDC? A visual inspection tells you PDC is definitely around 1/3 or maybe 1/4, but definitely not half. Okay, so PDC is just somewhere around 1/3 of triangle PDA. Okay, so if this is 3, this is 1, or this could even be 4, but definitely not 2. Okay, now what? So which means if this is 3 and this is 1, this should also be 3 and this should be 1. Okay, so what should be the area? 3 into 3, 9. So this should be 3 into 3 and this should be 1 into 1. So my area should be 9:1. Okay, but let's check the choices. Is 3:1 possible? No, 3:1 is not possible, because 3:1 or 2:1 is definitely what? This is there. What about 2:1? Again no. 2:1 not possible. 5:4 means these two triangles ADP and PDC, both of them are approximately equal, so this also cannot be the answer. Correct answer, choice D. Okay. Again, standard SQC techniques have been used. Those of you who want to use mathematics, you are welcome to do it, but those of you who want to use conventional mathematics, let me just give you a couple of tips which will help you cut down on your calculation effort. Let me just clean up the slide and then let's do this question again. Okay. Now mathematically how you'd solve, we'll start from there, but I will just give you a couple of tips which will help you cut down on your calculation effort. Now one of the things to remember about right angle triangles is that if it is a 30, 60, 90 right triangle, then the side, and if the side opposite 30 is 1, the hypotenuse will be twice of that, 2 and √3. Or in a 30, 60, 90 right triangle, the ratio of sides is 1:√3:2. Okay. Please remember this. This will help you cut down on your calculation effort. Now when I am looking at this, there is an equilateral triangle. So let me assume each of these sides is equal to 2. Why 2? So that this becomes 1, 1 and my calculation becomes slightly easier. Okay. Now if this side is 2, that means AD should be, if you look at this triangle ADC, this is a right angle triangle. So AC is 2, DC is 1, so that means AD should be √3, which means this angle has to be 60 degrees. Okay, so yeah, just compare it with this. The side opposite √3 should be 60 degrees. Hypotenuse is 2. In this question, hypotenuse is 2. Altitude is √3, so this should be 60 degrees, and this should be 30 degrees. Okay. Now the second thing is, this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle again, because why? This angle is 30 degrees, this angle is 90 degrees, so this angle should be 60 degrees. Now since this angle is 90 degrees, this is the hypotenuse. Please understand, in triangle APD, hypotenuse is AD. So if hypotenuse is √3, the base should be half of that. Which is base? The side opposite 30 degree. So this should be root 3 by 2. Okay. And this should be root 3 times the base. So 1 into root 3 or root 3 by 2 into root 3. So this should be root 3 by 2 into root 3, which is equal to 3 by 2. Okay. So now you have got this also. This is 3 by 2. This is 0.5 and you can calculate all the areas. Okay. So the basic technique of remembering that 30, 60, 90 triangle, the ratio of sides is 1 is to root 3 is to root 2. I'm sorry, 1 is to root 3 is to 2. And the smaller side is opposite the smallest angle will be helpful if you want to do this question mathematically, which I too would have done had the choices been closed. Because this question does not have closed choices, we are able to solve it without doing any effort. Question 27. X is a 6-digit number and the sum of digits is 10. If each of the digits 0, 1, 2, 3 occur in X at least once, the number of values that X can have is how many? Okay, round 2. I am sure most of you would have by now understood any question which requires me to make cases is by and large a round 2 question. Okay. And that is the case out here also. However, since this is end of the section almost, and I know how to solve this question, even though I have to make cases, I ended up doing this in round 1 because end of the section, round 1 and round 2 does not really make a difference. But if this was among the first 15-20 questions, then it would have been a round 2 question for me, not a round 1 question. Right now in this paper, I have done it as in round 1, but it's question number 27. So round 1, round 2 does not really matter. Let's see how to solve this question. X is the 6-digit number and the sum of digits is 10. Each of digits 0, 1, 2, 3. So 0, 1, 2 and 3, these add up to 6. Now since it's a 6-digit number, that means the other 2 digits should be adding up to 4. Okay. So let us see in what are the ways in which the other digits can add up to 4. So the digits we have are 0, 1, 2, 3. These digits will definitely be there. The remaining 2 digits have to be adding up to 4. They can add up to 4 with a 0 plus 4. Okay, so that means 0 could be coming in twice and 4 could be the other one. So these are the 2 new digits which have got added. So that the digit sum becomes 10. 4, 3, 7, 2, 9 and 1, 10. 4, 3, 7 plus 2 plus 1 adds up to 10. This is first case. What are the other ways? Let's check out 0, 1, 2, 3. We need to add a 4. That means the other 2 could be 1 and 3. So 1 and 3 will also add up to 4. Okay. So case 1 is this. This is the second case. Is there any other way to get the digit sum of 10? 0, 1, 2, 3. We need to get a 4. So these 2 have been added 4. So we can even do 2 plus 2, 4. So another 2, another 2. Okay. No other way because 4 can be only 0 plus 4. It could be 1 plus 3. It could be 2 plus 2. So these are the 3 possible cases by which we can get a digit sum of 10. Okay. So let's check out in how many ways can we create a 6-digit number in each of these cases. Now 0, 0 cannot be the starting of any number. Okay, so since it has to be a 6-digit number, 0 cannot come here. Okay, so when I am looking at this particular position, in this particular case, there are only 4 possibilities. Only 4 possibilities are there. It can be either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Okay, and in the remaining 5 spaces, any of these numbers can come. Okay, so the number of ways in this particular case by which you can make a 6-digit number are: first position, this position can be by any of these 4, so 4, and these positions can be by any of the remaining digits, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out of 6, 5 I have left, so into 5 factorial, but 0 is coming in twice, so upon 2 factorial. Similarly, when you look at the second case, again in the first position, this position, 5, 6, in this position, except for 0, all other can come. Okay. So here we will have 5 possibilities into, again remaining is 5 factorial, 5 places 5 factorial divided by 1 is coming twice and so is 3. So divided by 2 factorial for 1s and 2 factorial for the 2 3s. And this particular case, third case, again the first position can be obtained by any of the 5 bits apart from 0. So 5 into and remaining 5 factorial, 5 places 5 factorial, but the number 2 is coming thrice. So divided by 3 factorial. So this becomes so 4 into 5 factorial upon 2 factorial will be 5 factorial is 120 2 factorial, 5 factorial is 120. This is 120. So 120 upon 2, 60 into 4, 240. So this has 240 ways by which you can get a 6-digit number. What about this? Again 120 upon 4, 30. 30 into 5, 150. Okay. And this one, 5 factorial upon 3 factorial is 5 factorial upon 3 factorial is effectively 5 into 4, 20 into 5, 100. So 240, 390, 490. The correct answer is choice A. Actually, we did not need to solve this one. The moment we did these two, 240 plus 150, 390, that means this cannot be the answer, this cannot be the answer, 390 also cannot be the answer because I have another case available to me. So which will increase my answer to beyond 390. So we could have just changed our last step and solved the question in 5 seconds extra, in 5 seconds less. Question 28. Ratio of external diameters of pipes P1 and P2 is 3:4 respectively, and the ratio of thickness of P1 to P2 is also 3:4. Ratio of density of the material used in P1 to P2 is 8:5. If both pipes are of the same weight, what is the ratio of the length of P1 to P2? This is a round 1 question. Now typically this is a round 1 question for me, and even if you think it's a little lengthy, still you should do it in round 1 because we are at question number 28, which means almost end of the section. At this point of time, round 1 and round 2 don't make a difference. Why round 1 for me? Because I know what is to be done. It might have a bit of calculation, but since the question is all about ratios, I don't think calculation is likely to be difficult. Let's see how this question has to be solved. Now we are given the ratio of diameters of P1 to P2. So ratio of dia, there is the external dia. P1 to P2 is 3:4. Let me write external here. External diameter ratio is 3:4. The thickness of the pipe is also in the ratio of 3:4. And the density is in the ratio of 8:5. Let us first understand the relation between density, weight and the diameters, etc. Now density of a material is nothing but weight divided by volume. So weight per volume, per unit volume is density, which otherwise means that weight is nothing but density into volume. So we have the ratio of density given to us. So we can assume it to be 8x, 5x or 8y, 5y as we want to. So to find the weight, we need the volume. Now volume will be equal to pi r, let me say E external diameter, pi r square h minus pi r I. Ri is nothing but the internal diameter h, which is nothing but pi into h into external diameter square minus internal diameter square. Okay. So this becomes the volume. So if we have we can calculate the volume because the ratio of diameter is given and ratio of thickness. If we have the thickness with us, we can get the internal diameter also. And we have the ratio of density. We need to find the ratio of the length. Okay. We need to find the ratio of the length. Now in this case, the h or the height, since it's a pipe, instead of height we will take it as length. So let us call it as L. Okay. So if it was cylinder, we would have called it height. Since it's a pipe, we'll call it the length. Or in other words, we need to find the volume of both the pipes multiplied with the diameters and get the ratio of the length. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. And get the ratio of the length. I'll just repeat the last part. So in other words, we need to find the weight of both the pipes the ratio of weight of both the pipes by multiplying the volume with the ratio of density, or the ratio of volume into ratio of density should give the ratio of weights, and the weights are equal. From there we can get the ratio of the lengths of the two pipes. Now to solve this question, I have frequently found people taking density to be 3x and 4x. Sorry, diameter to be 3x and 4x, thickness to be 3y and 4y, density to be 8z, 5z, and getting confused all over the place. The simplest way of solving this question is to assume numbers. So let me assume that P1, P2, the diameters, the external diameter, let me say are 30 centimeters and 40 centimeters. Okay. And let me assume the thickness is 3 centimeter, 4 centimeter. Now this satisfies both the conditions of the diameter as well as the thickness. The ratio of diameter is 3:4, yes it is, and ratio of thickness also is 3:4, so this satisfies both the conditions. So if the thickness is 3 centimeter, the internal diameter will be, look at this way, we have the pipe like this. Okay. Now this is the internal diameter, the external diameter of the pipe. So to get the internal diameter, you need to minus thickness from here as well as here. So it should be external diameter minus twice the thickness will be internal diameter. So this becomes, so the internal diameter becomes 24, 30 minus 3 into 2 and 40 minus 4 into 2, so 32 centimeters. So we will do all our calculation using these figures of external diameter as well as internal diameter. So the volume of the first pipe will be pi into, instead of r we are saying d, so it should be d square by 4. So instead of r out here, we will take it d square by 4. Okay. So it will be 30 square minus 24 square, external diameter square minus internal diameter square upon 4 into length of the first pipe. This is the volume of the first pipe. And similarly, the volume of the second pipe will be pi by 4 into 40 square minus 32 square into L2. So these are the volumes of pipe 1 and pipe 2. So there is the volume of pipe 1, volume of pipe 2. But the question says the weight of both of them are equal. So if I multiply them with the weights, they should be multiply them with the density, the volume into density. I'll repeat this part. The question says that weight of both the pipes are the same. Both the pipes have the same weight. Now weight, as we have said earlier, is nothing but density into volume. Since we have calculated density, let us assume we have calculated the volume. Let us assume the densities to be 8x and 5x. Okay. So into 8x and into 5x here. Now these two are equal. Now if these two are equal, let us cancel out. Pi by 4 gets cancelled out from both the sides. Okay. X gets cancelled out from both the sides. We need not worry about it. So which implies 30 square minus 24 square. Now 30 square is 900. 24 square is 576. So 900 minus 576 is 300 plus 24. 324 L1 into 8 should be equal to 40 square is 1600. This is 1600. 32 square is a famous number. I expect all of you to know it. There is 2 to the power 10, 1024. So this difference is 576. 576 into L2 into 5. So L1 by L2 should be equal to 576 into 5 upon 324 into 8. Actually, we don't need to solve any further. While we'll solve it, but if you look at this fraction carefully or this expression carefully, L1 by L2 is equal to 576 into 5 upon 324 into 8. This tells me that the numerator is going to be a multiple of 5. That means the first number should be a multiple of 5. This is not a multiple, this is not a multiple, this is the only multiple of 5. This should be the answer. Let's verify this. Okay. Please understand, this 5 will not get cancelled out because neither 8 nor 324 are multiples of 5. So 5 will be there in the numerator. So the first number of the numerator has to be a multiple of 5. But let's check this out. 576 into 5 upon 324 into 8. Now hopefully this will be visible to most of us that 576 is a multiple of 9. 6 plus 5, 11 plus 7, 18. It's a multiple of 9. Similarly, 2, 3, 324, 4, 2, 6 and 3, 9, multiple of 9. So both of them are multiple of 9. In fact, it should also be visible that 576 is a multiple of 800. 200 is, 576 is a multiple of 8. 200 is a multiple of 8. So 600 should be a multiple of 8. 576 is 600 minus 24. 600 is a multiple of 8. 24 is a multiple of 8. So 576 is a multiple of actually 72, which should be visible to many of us. But let's just do the calculations. So let me start by cancelling out with 8. 8 ones are 8 gone. Now 576 add the as now 576 as I had said earlier is a multiple of 600, and 576 is nothing but 600 minus 24. So this becomes 75. 200 by 8 is 25, so 600 by 8 should be 75. 75 minus 3 is 72. So you could still cancel that out. You could just do it the other way. Okay. Now 9 8s are 72. 9 3s are 27. 54, 9 6 are 54. Okay. So 4 2s are 8. 4 9s are, which is equal to 10 by 9. Correct answer, choice A. Now, which is what we had said initially. And if you look at the choices carefully, if you look at the fractions carefully, you'll always be able to identify ways to cut down your calculation. And in this question, all we said was 576 into 5 upon 324 into 8. We will not be able to cancel out 5, which means the numerator will have to be a multiple of 5. Only one choice is a multiple of 5, hence that has to be the correct answer. Now, whatever we have done in this question again comes under the concept of SQC. What are the two components of SQC we have used? Instead of working on ratios, we worked on numbers. We did not say diameter 3:4. We said diameter is 30 and 40 centimeter. Thickness is 3 centimeter, 4 centimeter. So we work with numbers rather than variables or with fractions, and hence have made our life easier. Second, we use the part of the calculation to get to the choice. We said the numerator has to be a multiple of 5. Only one choice is a multiple of 5 in the numerator, hence that has to be the answer. Okay. Question 29. Sum of monthly salaries of Vidyut and Bidli is rupees 1,50,000. Salary of Vidyut is increased by 11.11%, and the moment you see 11.11%, it just strikes you, it is nothing but 10 by 9. All 11.11% is 1 by 9, so the increased salary is 10 by 9. And that of Bidli by 16.67%, that means the increased salary is 7 by 6 times the original salary. The resulting salary of Bijli will be 70% of the resulting salary of Vidyut. What is the original annual salary of Bijli? Round 1 question, a simple question of percentages, so it should not be a problem for anyone. Okay. As I said, if the salary has increased by 11.11%, that means if the original salary was 9, the new salary will become 10. Or the new salary is 10 by 9 of the original salary. Why 10? Because an increase of 1 on a base of 9, 1 by 9 is 11.11%. And by a similar logic, if the increase is 16.67%, 16.67 is 1 by 6. That means if the original salary was 6, the new salary will be 7, and the new salary becomes 7 by 6 times the original salary. So we can say, so if you have to solve it mathematically, what you will say, original salary of Vidyut plus Bijli is 1,50,000. Now the question says that the new salary of Bijli is 70% of the new salary of Vidyut. So new salary of Bijli will be 7 by 6b, and the new salary of Vidyut is 10 by 9 of V. This will be equal to 70%, or this will be equal to 7 by 10. So you have one equation out here, you have another equation out here, and you can solve the equations by solving the two equations. Okay. But if you look at these numbers carefully, the moment I look, you don't need to do all this calculation. When I look at this 10 by 9 and 7 by 6, my starting point would be, most probably this will be 90,000 and 60,000. Most probably these will be 90 and 60,000. So 90 plus 60 gives me 150k, which is what it is. So I'll check the choices. Okay. I'll check the choices. The question asks about annual salary of Bijli. If the annual salary of Bijli is 7,20,000, that means the monthly salary will be 60,000 per month. This will be This will be 50,000. 6 lakh means 50,000 per month. And this will be choice B will be 90,000 per month. So let me start checking the choices. If 90 and 60 is fine, if Vidyut is originally at 90 and Bijli is originally at 60, the increase in Vidyut salary is going to be there 10k because it is increasing by 1/9, so it will become 100,000, and that of Bijli will become again increasing by 10k because it is increasing by 1/6, which makes it 70k, and 70k is 70% of 100,000. So this satisfies the condition. So the correct answer is that the original salary of Bijli was 60,000 rupees, which means the annual salary was 7,22,000 rupees. Correct choice, answer A. Okay. Now in this question I made a mistake. I did not get it right. I made a mistake because I mixed out the fact that the question was asking for annual salary. Because I missed out the answer, missed out this fact that it was about annual salary and not monthly salary, I marked the answer as D. I'm sure many of you have also made this mistake. Be careful, don't make the mistake which I have made. If you have not made this mistake, great. If you have made the same mistake, please be careful in reading the questionnaire in future, and which is a lesson which I need to draw for myself also. Okay, let's not jump to conclusions. Okay, so solve the question whichever you want, either by solving mathematically or just looking at these numbers. You can get the feel that these are most likely to be 90 and 60 and take it forward from there. Okay. Question 30. A and B can complete a piece of work in 5 and 10 days respectively. They start the work together and were joined by Manu at the beginning of third day. The work was completed in 3 days. If Manu, Preetham and Kuval working together can complete the work in 4 days, and Preetham is twice as efficient as Kaval, in how many days can Kaval alone finish the work? Times and work questions, ratios questions are typically round one for me, irrespective of when they happen. Okay. And here again we will be using those basic concepts of SQC, and I'll do this question by two different ways. One for those of you who are comfortable with ratios and percentages, second for those of you who take a little time in solving this question. Okay. So to begin with, A and B can finish a piece of work in 5 days and 10 days respectively. So my starting point would be A will do 20% of the work per day and B will do 10% of the work per day. What happens is A works for 3 days, B works for 3 days. In the first, what it says is they started work together and were joined by Manu at the beginning of third day. The work was completed in 3 days. That means A and B, both of them have worked for 3 days. And Manu has worked for 1 day. So if A and B are working together, they can together do 30% work in 1 day, or in 3 days they would have done 90% work. All which means that Manu in 1 day has done 10% of the work. Manu does 10% of the work in 1 day. So to complete the work, Manu will take 10 days. Okay. 10% in 1 day means 100% in 10 days. So Manu can now we can say that Manu does the work in 10 days. Okay. Let's move further. If Manu, Preetham and Kaval working together complete the same work in 4 days, and Preetham is twice as efficient as Kaval, okay, in how many days can Kaval alone finish the work? So we are saying Preetham is twice as efficient as Kaval means whatever work Preetham does, or rather Kaval does in 1 day, Preetham will do that in half the amount of time. Or the number of days taken by Kaval to do a piece of work, the same work will be done by Preetham in half the time. Okay. Now we are saying, the question tells us that Manu plus Preetham plus Kaval, they can finish the piece of work in 4 days. Now Manu does 10% of the work per day. So in 4 days Manu would have done 40% of the work. That means Preetham and Kaval together will do 60% of the work. Out of 60% of the work, 2/3 will be done by Preetham, because Preetham is twice as efficient, and 1/3 will be done by Kaval, because Preetham is twice as efficient as Kaval. Which means Kaval, this implies that Kaval does 1/3 of 60%, 20% of work in 4 days, which implies 5% of work in 1 day, and which further means 100% of work in 20 days. Okay, so the correct answer, choice C. Okay, so if you work in ratios or in percentages as I have done out here, you realize that it does not take too much time. But I am sure some of you are uncomfortable with this, so I will repeat this process. And this way of working with ratios or with percentages directly is what we again classify in the SQC. Just to repeat, Ahmed can do the work in 5 days, so he does 20% per day. Bimalu can do it in 10 days, he does 10% per day. So together, if they are working, they will do 30% of the work per day. Both of them work together for 3 days and hence complete 90% of the work. Manu works only 1 day because Manu joined them at the beginning of 3rd day. So the work gets completed in 3 days. So he's done only 10% of the work in 1 day. Okay. The next thing is which implies that Manu can complete the piece of work in 10 days. The second thing which is given to us is Manu, Preetham and Kawal can finish the work in 4 days. Now in 4 days Manu does 40% of the work. That means 60% of the work has been done by Preetham and Kawal. Now since Preetham is twice as efficient as Kawal, so that means Preetham will do twice the work. So if you can say, so you can even say Preetham does 2x work, Kawal does x percentage of work. So 3x percentage is equal to 60%. So x is 20%. So that means Kawal will do 20% of the work in 4 days, or 5% of the work in 1 day, or 100% of the work in 20 days. Now there is one simple way which we can work and solve this question. Let us look at a slightly different method, similar but slightly different for those of you who are not very comfortable with percentages. I will erase the slide and restart the question. Now let us assume that the amount of work is LCM of 5 and 10. LCM of 5 and 10 is 10 units. So let me assume that the amount of work is 10 units. So we are starting by saying the amount of work is 10 units. So A finishes the work in 1 day, so he does 2 units per day. And B finishes the work in 10 days, so he does 1 unit per day. Okay. So I hope this is clear. I am assuming the amount of work to be 10 units. So A, who finishes the work in 5 days, he will be doing 2 units per day, B will be doing 1 unit per day, or together they will do 3 units per day. Now A and B work for 3 days and Manu works for 1 day to complete the work. Okay. Manu works for 1 day to complete the work. In 3 days, A and B will do 3 into 3, 9 units. That means out of the total work of 10 units, the remaining 1 unit will have to be done by Manu. So Manu does, now we can say, so Manu does 1 unit per day. And if you have to find in how many days will he finish the work, 10 units is the work, 1 unit per day, that means he will take 10 days to complete the work. Now let's come to the second part of the question, Manu, Preetham and Kawal. Manu, Preetham and Kawal together take 4 days to finish the work. If they are taking 4 days to finish the work, that means they are working at the rate of 2.5 units per day. Out of these 2.5 units per day, 1 unit per day is on account of Manu. So this is units per day. That means the balance 1.5 units per day is on account of Preetham plus Kawal. So if Preetham does x units per day, so Preetham does 2x units per day and Kawal does x units per day. This will imply 1.5, or rather amount of work done by Preetham plus Kawal should be equal to 1.5 units every day, which implies x is equal to 1.5 upon 3, or rather 3x, or x is equal to 0.5 units per day. So which means Kawal does 0.5 units per day. Since the amount of work is 10 units, so the number of days required to be 10 upon 0.5, which is equal to 20 days. So depending upon which method you are comfortable with, you are free to choose whichever you want. You could have, instead of 10 units, amount of work of 10 units, you could even have taken it as 20 or 30, whatever you are comfortable with. But choose a number which is definitely a LCM of 5 and 10, or a multiple of the LCM, so that you have a lower chance of getting stuck with decimals. Okay. Now this completes the section. Let us now go and have a review of the section. Now that we have gone through all the questions, Let us do a quick review of this section and see which question should have been attempted when. So as usual, I'll just put round 1, round 2 and round 3 questions. Question 1 was a round 2 question. Why round 2? If you remember, it was that railway station, the train question in which we had to do multiple cases, hence a round 2 question. Question 2 was a straightforward round 1 question, the successive divisibility. Question 3 was again a round 2 question because it had calculation, we needed to make cases and then check it out. So it was a round 2 questions. Questions 4, 5, 6 was a simple DI set which we attempted in round 2. None of the questions in this set were difficult and I am sure most of you would have got them correct. Okay. Question 7, round 1, it is the base 10 conversion, and in this question we use the basic SQC technique of solving only what is required, which means the question wanted to know what are the thousands did, so we focused on the thousand and hundred bits only to get to the answer. Similarly, question number 8, question of profit loss discount, we solved this again by assuming the cost price to be 100. Again, a standard SQC technique is what we used. Question 10 was a round 1 question. Question 9 again was a round 1 question. The question of logs. The reason I am calling it a SQC is because if you remember, we solved only one part of the equation on the basis of which we got the answer. The second equation we did not use at all because we were able to get the answer from the first equation itself, and hence we saved a significant amount of time. Question 10. Now question 10 was again a round 1 question. It was the question of graph where we had 2 graphs and we had to find relationship. Question 11, round 1 question. And here again we applied a basic SQC technique of putting values of n rather than creating an equation and solving, which is a hugely time consuming item. We just put n equal to 1, n equal to 2 and checked out which of the choice satisfies. Question 12 would be a round 2 question, or in some cases it could even be a round 3 question. So 12 could happen either in round 2 or in round 3 depending upon how comfortable are you with this. Again, if you can straight away apply binomial expansion and say this is nothing but 90 plus 1 raised to power 1 AB, maybe you will do it in round 2. If you can't, then maybe it's a question which should not be attempted at all because it will become time consuming. Similarly, question number 13 is either a round 2 question or a round 3 question. Why round 3? If you don't know the formula, that the formula for the circumradius is equal to ABC upon 4A and the formula for in radius is A upon S, then you can't attempt it, so you might as well put it in round 3. If you know those formulas, then you could do it either in round 1 or round 2, does not really make too much of a difference, and there it will be a question of your comfort with the topic. For example, for me geometry always comes in round 2, hence it's a round 2 item for me. But if you are very comfortable with geometry, then maybe you could still do it in round 1. 14, 15, 16 DI set, and in this was not worth attempting, or rather the only question which was worth attempting was question number 14. This could have been attempted, but if you choose this set, then 15 or 16 are going to be time consuming and they should be left. Unlike 4, 5, 6 which were easy, in this 14 was easy, not difficult to solve. 15 and 16 were high on calculation and hence were not worth attempting. So even if you start doing this set, this is the question which you, in this set you need to definitely look at, leaving the second and the third or the 15th and 16th question. Question number 17th, again a round 1 question, simple question of probability. Okay. Question 18th, the question of in which the clock was showing the incorrect time, and we again applied the SQC technique of using the choices. Is remember we said the answer has to be after 8 PM, and on that basis we eliminated 2 choices, and out of the remaining 2 choices we checked one of them and got the answer. Question 20 could be a round 1, round 2 or round 3 question depending upon how comfortable you are with it. So the default for me then becomes it's a round 2 question because I know most of the students will take some time in solving this. 21 for me is straight away a round 3 question. 21 is not a question that I want to attempt. The question of trigonometry with which we had to solve it. For me, this kind of question cannot be solved in the paper because it will be time consuming. I'll solve these questions only if I can substitute values of angle and then solve it. 22, 23, 24, the pie chart, this DI set of pie charts, 22, 23, 24. Again, an easy set. Hopefully, most of you have attempted the 4, 5, 6 and 22, 23, 24 and not attempted the 14, 15, 16. Because the first and the third DI sets were the easy ones, they should have been attempted. Question number 25 then becomes a round 2 question or round 3 question. To me, it was a round 2 question because we were able to eliminate the choices. The standard SQC technique of saying, okay, let me look at the numbers. If you remember, we said the shaded region should be significantly smaller than the area of the hexagon. And based on that, we eliminated choices and were able to get to the answer. Okay. So, question 25 was again a question which SQC could be applied. Same with question 26. Question 26 is for me a question which can be solved purely by looking at the figure or by drawing a rough estimate of the area. If you remember, it was an equilateral triangle in which we need to find the product of 2 triangles and ratio of the product of another 2 triangles. And we just said approximately this looked like this. The choices were not close, hence we were able to get the answer fairly fast. Question 27 is either a round 2 question or it's a round 3 question. It's either a round 2 or a round 3 question for the simple reason that there will be cases which you have to make and hence it could be time consuming, and if you have a problem in terms of making cases, then maybe there is not a question which you should be doing at all. Also, it had some basic elements of permutation and combination involved, which again, if it is an area of discomfort for you, should not have been a part of, should not be attempted by you. Question 28, attempted by us, or question 28, we applied the SQC technique of saying if the ratio of diameters is 3:4, let us assume the diameters to be 30 cm and 40 cm. Because we are working with numbers and not variables, we are able to cut down on effort and get to the answers faster. Question 29, round 1 question, question 29 is a round 1 question. It's a round 1 question, simple question of percentages, but if you remember, I got it incorrect. I marked the wrong answer. I jumped to conclusions. Please don't make the mistake which I committed out here. Easy question, but I missed out that the question wanted to know the annual rather than the monthly salary. Hence, I made a mistake. Okay, but an easy question which you can use SQC technique, which we discussed. That instead of saying 16.66% increase, you can say it has become 7 by 6 times. And instead of saying 11.11% increase, you can say it has become 10 by 9 times. And similarly for question number 30, easy question, round 1. So if you look at this paper, it had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 round 1 questions. So 10 questions out here. And in terms of round 2, even if I ignore the ones which like 12, 13, 27, which I am saying can be round 1 or round 2 or round 3 depending upon your interest. I will still say in round 2 you can do 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, that is 3, 4, 5, 5, then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You can do at least 12 questions and it could even go up to another 2, 3, 4. So you can do 12 to 16 questions. But my basic would be, in this paper, round 1 you should be doing all 10. Round 2, if you do out of 12 to 16, if you do about 6 to 8, to me this 16 to 18 is a good attempt as far as this paper is concerned. I hope you are able to pick out the easy questions to attempt, because at the end of the day, this paper is not only about which questions you attempt, but more about the fact that which question you ignore and which you leave. Okay, that's the end of this section. Let's move to the next section now.